Bonjour, Kinamagi and in Ireland Indigenous, and welcome to this production of the My Math Network. Today's lesson, Chapter 5, Lesson 7, Addition Properties. Lesson, you should have page 341, the lesson 7 addition properties out. This would have been a delivery in a recent week. It's advisable that you fill this in as you go. If you're going to submit the homework at the next paper exchange, you may, or you can drop it at the school in the red drop box. Or, and more advisable, is I would do the problems the best you can and then type the answer in the Google form to get a quicker assessment. As with any of these online videos, if at any point I'm moving too fast for you, you may pause the video and finish writing in whatever you need to write in, and then hit play when you're ready. The essential question this week is, how can I use place value and properties to add and subtract decimals? What addition properties can you use to add decimals mentally? Well, we know that we can use any one of our properties. We have the identity property of addition, which is different than the identity property of multiplication. In addition, with the addition one, anytime you add something plus 0, the number stays the same. So if I have 2 million and 2 plus 0, I still have 2 million and 2. We have two other big ones here, the commutative property and the associative property. And the commutative property states that the order of which numbers are added does not change the sum. 3 plus 2 plus 4 is the same as 4 plus 3 plus 2. And the associative property states that the way in which the numbers are grouped does not change the sum. There are instances where if we're adding something like 35 plus 9 plus 5, I might want to put my 35 and 5 together to get a 40, then add the 9, and I'm good to go. Realistically, a lot of these are steps that you would complete in your brain, and it sometimes can be a little cumbersome to write down. So take apart the numbers using their expanded forms. Use commutative and associative properties. So I fit 5.4 plus 2.7. Let's see what the next slide here. There we go. So I break 5.4 down into 5 plus 0.4, and then I have 2 plus 0.7. I'm going to put my whole numbers together, 5 and 2, which is 7. And then my decimals, 4 tenths plus 7 tenths, which is 1.1 or 11 tenths, or 1 and 1 tenth. And then I add 7 plus 1.1 equals 8.1. It seems like a lot of writing, and it can be. It's something that you do in your brain. You're like, okay, 5 and 2 is 7, 4 tenths and 7 tenths is 11 tenths. So I've got 5, 2, and 1 is 3. That's 8. And then there's 1 tenth left over, 8.1, something to that effect. Use properties of addition to find the sum mentally. Show the steps. I'm going to see if it gives me the answer if I need to do it. There we go. Samples. I could put 6.4 plus 12.6 together because I know that 4 tenths and 6 tenths will give me a whole. Then I can put the 14 and the 0. So I put these together. The order, and I changed the order around so because I know I'm going to use parentheses when I get to the associative. Changing the order is commutative. So now instead of 6.4 plus 14 plus 12.6 plus 0, I had the 14 plus 6.4 and 12.6 plus 0. Putting the 0 at the end can make things a little easier for mental math because you're probably just going to leave it off. So now once I have it in this order, I can put parentheses around these two, and that's the associative property. If you're wondering If it's commutative or associative, sometimes look for parentheses. It's one indicator. 6.4 and 12.6. 6 and 12 is 18. 4/10 and 6/10 is one more. I get 19. I have 14 plus 19 plus 0. 14 and 19 is 33 plus 0 equals 33. When I did the plus 0, that's the identity property. And in here, we were simply just doing the adding. So you can put the word add into that step. Again, here's a reminder of the vocabulary words. Commutative property of addition states that the order in which the numbers are added does not change the sum. The associative property states that the way in which the numbers are grouped does not change the sum. An identity property states that the sum of any number and 0 equals that number. All right, so let's go ahead and get in the math. Oops. Example, basic. Elijah recorded the number of different movies he watched last month. Use the properties of addition to mentally find the total number of movies. So I had 5 plus 27 plus 15. Let's see what they give us just to make your life easier. So first I'm going to change the order, and I'm going to get my annotation tool. I'm going to change it to 27 plus 15, or plus 5 plus 15. I probably gone 5 plus 15 plus 27 personally, but that's up to you. Now I'm going to use the associative property by grouping this 5 and the 15 together, and make sure you're writing this in your text as we go so that you can compare it and have this to be able to look back on. So now 5 and 15 is 20, and you could do that one in your head, and that's why they put it over here. Now 20 plus 27, 2 and 2 is 4, and there's a 7, so 47. So Elijah watched a total of 47 movies. In all honesty, writing out the steps today will be the longest part of doing this. This is all stuff you probably do in your head, and you're like, Mr. I know how to do this. And you're right, you do, but you still got to write it out sometimes. All right, if you need any more time, remember you can pause the video, finish writing it in, and then move on. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. And you see the answers here, same as what we had. Example niche, this is also found on, this is now found on 342, the top of the next page. Right under the yellow where it says the identity property of addition states that the sum of any number and 0 equals a number. So I have 1.8, 2.6, and 0. So the first thing I'm going to do after I get my annotation tool is I'm going to break down 1.8 and 2.6. So 1.8 is 1 plus 0.8. 2.6 is 2 plus 0.6. I'm using my expanded form. And there's still plus 0. So now I could regroup this, or commutative property I can put together. 1 plus 2 plus 0.8 plus 0.6. 1 plus 2. Now that I put these two together, the whole numbers and my decimals with my poor 0 way out here, that's associative, or who you're grouped with. 0.8 and 0.6. One plus 2 is 3, and that's an addition. 0.8 and 0.6. 8 and 6 is 14, and there's a decimal point in there. So 1.4 plus 0. So I add 3 and 1.4 is 4.4 plus 0. Identity property, I add them together, and I get 4.4. Anytime I add 0, the identity property says that the number stays the same. All right, let's go ahead and do the guided practice together. We see the answers here. Use properties of addition to find each sum mentally. Show your steps. Again, in your head, you're not going to write down the steps, but for today, I do expect you to do such. Sorry. It's about learning. So I have 9 plus 27 plus 1. And commutative property, I know that 27 or 9 and 1 is going to give me something good together. So I'm going to put 27 first and have the 9 plus 1. I probably gone 9 plus 1 plus 27 personally, but that's just how I do things. So now I'm going to put these 9 and 1 together because I know that it's going to give me an error because I wrote down the number wrong. Oops. I group together the 9 plus 1, which is 10. That's the add there. 27 and 10 is 37. So I have my commutative property. When I change the order, I put the 9 and 1 together as a group. That's associative. And then I added. All right, so you're going to go ahead and you're going to practice a couple problems once I clear that. Make sure you've written that in. If you need to, go ahead and pause the video. Let's talk math first. Use properties to mentally determine whether 3.1 plus 0.8 plus 0.9 is less than, greater than, or equal to 5. Well, I'm going to put 9/10 and 3 1/10. That's going to give me 4. 4 plus 0.8 is 4.8. So it's going to be less than 5. All right, so I want you to do number 2. Put in which properties you're using and then add. Go ahead and pause the video. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. We took 69 plus 22, which was 60 plus 9 and 20 plus 2. Put my 10s together and I get 80 over here. 9 and 2 is 11. 80 and 11 is 91. So when I change the order commutative, when I group those associative. Notice again, we're using place value and expanded form. And that's something you probably do on the regular. You just don't always write down the property, or maybe you didn't know the property name, but now you do. Let's do number 3. We have 11 plus 7.7 plus 4.3 plus 0 equals 11 plus 7.7 plus 4.3 plus 0. The 7 and 7, we get our numbers in the same order. So what step, if we just add these two as one grouping and we use parentheses, that is again the associative. And we know that that's 12. 11 plus 12 plus 0. This together is 23 plus 0. That's identity property because we ended up with 23. You see there. Go ahead and do number 4. You may pause the video now. Welcome back. Let's see how you did on number 4. We have 37, 26, 53. Now 26, 37, 53. We changed the order, so it's commutative. 26 plus 37 plus 53. Once I put the parentheses to group them together, that's indicating associative property, and then I add. All right, so let's look at the assignment today. In here, use properties of addition to find each sum mentally. Show your steps and identify the properties that you used. The easiest way to do this assignment is actually probably with the paper and then taking a picture of both sides and sending it to me via your email account to mireland@psychchipschool.net. That's what I'm advising you because of the fact that it's a little more difficult to write these all out in a Google form. But we'll have it there where you'll have to list which ones you used, give me an answer, and all of those good things. And there's a total of 7 problems. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me at mireland@psychchipschool.net. Hope you have a mental keys you got in. Mama P.